guys, this is the Fichet 787Z indoor cylinder. Here's a look at the key. This is the tension tool that I made. In order to tension this lock, you have to push down on the back of the inside of the keyway, and this allows me to do that without getting in the way of the levers. There's a reduced diameter to the part that goes down into the keyway because there's also a shutter, and that shutter has to close part of the way in order for the lock to open. There's also a light pipe attached to here, which is attached to a flashlight, so I can see down into the keyway. There's also a bracket that clamps down onto the body of the lock, and that holds a string, which is the fulcrum for this lever, and the lever gives me a bit more control over the tension of the lock. When this lock is installed, that part that I'm clamped onto is actually sticking out, and so when this is installed on a door, you'd still be able to do this, I believe. Alrighty, there it is. In order to actually rotate the cylinder here, I have to hold everything in place with this tool, and then remove my tension tool, and then I can rotate this. Alrighty, there we go. So that's 90 degrees. I'm going to move you over here for a better view of this. There we go. Let me undo my vise. Now, so you can see the shutter there turning. Come on. There. There we go. I also want to show the cam in the back and show that that is engaged and turning. There you go. Let's turn it back around. I'll do a 360 of the core. Let me do that again so you can see. And now we'll lock it up. We're back to locked, and you can see the shutter comes all the way back together. These are just helping me hold it in the vise. Alrighty, there we go. So, this portion of the lock sticks out when it's installed on a door. I believe that that's true for the indoor and outdoor cylinder, and so I believe that you'd still be able to tension the lock in this way that I have with the fulcrum and lever while it's installed on the door. I had to make a back piece for this lock, and that's what I'm taking off now. Unfortunately, it takes a moment. The guts of this lock are kind of able to slide out otherwise. It's just a small clip that holds them in. So you can see this is the back piece that I made. the cam actually turns freely when the core is locked because there's nothing engaging it at all. This little clip is what holds it all together. We'll pop that off. So this, on the other side of the cam is the sidebar. This translates the spring force to the cam here and helps hold it in place. These springs are what you're fighting when you're tensioning the lock and are part of why I needed to use the lever and why I needed such high tension. So let's push this forward out of the housing. And as I do that, you can see there's a little tab here that will dump out. And that hole that it sits in goes all the way through to the cogs. This tab on the indoor cylinder just prevents the core from turning until it's been moved back to a certain point in the housing. On the outdoor cylinder, that little piece is a little different. You can see the grooves on the inside of the cylinder that piece runs in. On the outdoor cylinder, that piece is, instead of just a solid tab, it's a two-piece part with a spring in the middle, and that spring allows it to compress, and the housing is a little different as well. As the core of the lock moves backwards, the housing pushes that little tab in and it rubs against the cogs back here. And that's only on the outdoor cylinder, but it makes picking much more challenging. But I'm still pretty proud to have picked the indoor cylinder here. So I'll show you what the key looks like when it's working. You can see the gates and all of the cogs there, and they self-scramble because they're spring-loaded by a copper leaf spring that you can see back there. And that's what the levers look like as you insert and remove the key. It's very fun to watch. There's sidebar is able to drop into those gates once everything is properly aligned. Or actually, it's the rest of the lock that drops into the sidebar, and the sidebar stays still. The cam, or the shutter on here rather, when it's at its resting position in the very front of the housing, it's able to open up as far as it would like. But once you start tensioning the lock or inserting the key, it pushes back a little ways, and it's only able to open up to about there. And to correspond with that, there's a pinch in the diameter of the key as well. Let's see. I go by caffeine picking on the Discord. If anybody would like to talk about this lock, this is my very first video, so I hope you guys appreciate it. I believe I'm the very first person to document picking and gutting this lock, so I'm pretty proud of that. I believe that's everything. I hope you guys liked the video, and thanks for watching.